Welcome back to the latest episode of the Key and Mang Audio Experience. I'm your host, Mang, as always, and my fellow co-host, Key. Key, what's good?
What's up, Meg? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Chilling. I'm good.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Um, so our episode today, episode 59, we did an episode on things that we've changed perspective on personally over the years as we've gotten older, experienced new things. But we threw that question out to our friends, our family, our audience also, and got some pretty thought-provoking responses, and we wanted to spend some more time highlighting some of those responses. It was a lot, but I think obviously as we start to age, we get exposed to different things. You start to see things in a different light, and how you thought about one thing one way might change as you get experience in a different perspective or different direction. So it was really cool to see some of these responses that we got, and we appreciate everyone who did respond to the question because it makes you think a lot. So, Key, wanted to throw it your way first, and what response kind of stuck out in your eyes?
The ideology of toughness. So this person said always handling things on your own, internalizing or bottling up emotions, thugging it out. All these things are more so a trauma response than it is independence and toughness. And I think that is very true, especially in I see it like in I see it I would say I see it in guys, but it also happens in females too. I think as you if you get hurt by certain circumstances, you kind of try to play the whole unbothered role or like say you don't care as opposed to actually sitting and dealing with those emotions, talking it out. And I think that is literally a trauma response. It's not a good thing to be like that and it doesn't show like independence. If anything, it shows more so weakness because you're not willing to like confront what actually hurt you.
Yeah, I see that point. I think, but it's also a point of you're not giving away, like you don't have a way to safely express those emotions because someone's gonna come at you some type of way, or someone's going to use that emotion against you later down the line. Because sometimes you'll be vulnerable with somebody and then you tell them your deepest, darkest secrets, and then they come back and use that against you when they know you're at your lowest point. So it just put you further down the hole and it's harder to come out of. So I think it's a great point. I know for me it was, I mean, I was a crybaby. I was very emotional. But as you get older, you start to realize that it doesn't have to all stay in. Like if you have ways to put those emotions, like whether it's journaling, whether it's talking to somebody that you trust, whether it's recording yourself on video, whether it's going to the basketball court, driving range, whatever is your stress reliever, but having ways to channel that emotion when things are starting to swell up inside and feel uncomfortable or like you're gonna blow, like you have outlets to channel that emotion and make sure that you can take care of yourself. Because I think we're getting better at it now of, you know, communicating when, things are getting hard or some of the stuff that we've gone through as kids. But I think it's still something that is still a challenge to this day. And it's not a bad thing to open up with somebody that you trust, whether it's a professional or someone close.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's that there's that aspect too because nobody wants to say something and then like it be used against you later down the line. But I also think and like even if people do have places or people that they can vent to, I think a lot of times it's just easier to like bottle up your emotions as opposed to like saying this is how I feel and or just realizing, not even talking about just realizing this is how you feel and like sitting with that emotion. I think it's just very uncomfortable and you rather just come off as careless or unbothered when in fact it's something hurting inside you. So I think it's like two
But
aspects of
eventually,
it.
absolutely. And I think also if you keep almost having like this carefree, like nothing's affecting me, eventually it's gonna get to a point where it just comes out. You can't hide from it forever. It's gonna win eventually if you don't have a outlet to go to. So might as well start now and making sure that you have those safe places to channel those emotions.
Exactly. What was one interesting response, a thought-provoking response that you got from the people you
Yeah.
asked?
One response I got was that I learned too late and need more experience. And he was coming from the fact that he was late to his career. Well, not late, but he was coming from the perspective that he had he made a career change. He was in the like mm, business finance world and then made a career change to healthcare. And he was a little older, so he was like, "Did I started this too late. I don't know. All these people are like 22, 23, fresh out of undergrad, and I'm here, second career. Like, am I going to be able to relate? Do I need more experience? Like, I need more experience. Do I have enough time? Because I'm a little older, I can't." And just he was like, now that I'm in it, it's like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. This was a journey I was supposed to take, and I can use the experience from my previous career and bring it forward to what I'm doing now. So using all the experience that he has gained to bring it to what he's doing now, and I think it helps with his uniqueness and being himself, but because it's experiences that he's lived, but he brings a different perspective to the to the game because he's a little older and not doesn't see things the same way as other people. So I thought that was a very thought provoking response.
Yeah, and that just reminds me that like somebody could be doing something for a certain period of time, but with like quality reps, you can easily like get that time back. So that's something to keep in mind. And then also, like everybody has their unique experiences, like you said. Like even say you take a bunch of, let's say, new grad PTs just graduated school, like your backgrounds are going to be totally different. So you always have something different to bring to the table, despite you not having like a certain amount of years doing something. Like a different perspective is always cool, and you'll be able to relate to people more than you know.
Hmm.
But I think it is easy to feel like, hey, I'm behind or I'm not going to fit in if you switch careers like later in life and it's not like your traditional path to something.
Agreed. Agreed.
My next response that I thought was pretty cool was you don't have to get anything out of the mud. There's no trophy for how much struggle or pain you can endure. Nobody cares how you make it, they just care that you do. And I thought that was pretty cool. It made me think about a couple of things. So one of the things it made me think about was how like some people want their like future kids or their kids currently to struggle like they did, or like they want them to have it hard so they can learn certain lessons. And I think that having that mindset kind of sets you back as like as a kid. Like if you have parents that are actually able to help you, but instead they'd rather have you struggle and like make you struggle like they did, and they have the means to help you. I feel like that's like setting your kid up from like ground zero instead of like if you can help them at a higher point, then they'll be able to excel in life quicker. I don't think that kids should be given a like a late start if you have the means to provide them with like a head start. I think it just like sets you back when it's not necessary. I don't think you should want your kids to struggle just because you did if you have the means to help them.
Hmm. And that's assuming that you have the means to help them. But if you do and you want them to struggle, I feel like that's backwards. Like I think you should want your kids to want to achieve more than what you did, and if you can teach them the mistakes that you made early on and have them avoid those, and the mistakes that they're making are different problems, then you're just allowing them to learn more, but also be ready for when they have to pass down that knowledge so they can keep the cycle going. I've seen like things where like parents will charge like rent to their kids who are staying at home. A lot more kids are starting to stay at home now after finishing college and or their graduate programs to save up money because the housing market is crazy right now. But they take that money and they put it in a like investment account, retirement account. So then when the kid needs to, branch off on their own, they got money that's been accruing over the years, and they're not just left to go figure things out on their own, but they got a little head start if they need it. Otherwise, they can just sit there and continue to grow. So I think, this is assuming that you have the means to help your kid, and you're not just holding back on secrets, because there's no need to hold back on the wisdom that you can share with the next generation, because they're just going to take that information and make it better for themselves and the people coming up after them, and they're going to continue the cycle.
Yeah, I think everybody's about like breaking generational curses, but when you start to like make people start at a setback, it's gonna be harder to break those cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so just doing it for the sake of doing it is backwards, like you said.
Mm-hmm. The next one I saw that was funny, but I was like, this is real. Um, now that older, he's like warm-ups before doing literally anything athletic. Remember back in the day, you could just take off your sweats and hop on the court, hop on the field, and just start doing what you do. Now you try that, you're out. At least I'll speak for I'm out for like a couple weeks, whether it's recovery wise. Things aren't as limber as they used to be, and you gotta like warm up to it now. And I think taking more care of the front end, like taking time to do warm ups and taking time to make sure that you're feeling good, will help you with development over the long term versus trying to rush back into things so fast, and not warming up is just going to set you up for more injuries, disaster down the line. So I think didn't realize the importance of it early when you're younger, and you don't need, you have all the energy, you don't need to warm up or anything. But now as you're older, you understand the importance of making sure that you're ready in both mentally and physically.
I think it's funny that you say that because my opinions on warm ups changed, especially after going through PT school. Like before, I would always warm up, but my warm ups would be so drawn out. So I think like my idea of warm ups kind of flipped. Like you're saying like now you know that you need to warm up, and I realize that my warm up doesn't need to be as long. Like it just needs to be like specific to the lift. So I think it's funny like the way like you can change your mind about the same thing just in like from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would do so
Yeah,
much sensitive stuff before warm up, and now that I look back, it's like it's not necessary at all.
exactly. I'm talking like 5 minutes of just trying to like
Hmm.
do some quick like dynamic movements, jumping movements,
Yeah,
quick kind of movement just to get myself ready for what I'm about to do, and then that's it. Then that's all I need. And I usually use that time, start slow, and then we'll build my way up as we start going. But yeah, I used to like sit and like stretch all the time and just like wasting a bunch of time. Like, what am I running on the walking on the treadmill? Like, why am I doing this? Like,
yeah,
it's not really necessary. But yeah,
that's
I think just
crazy.
being more intentional with your warm-ups and what you're trying to accomplish to help you get ready for your task, I think is has that's gotten better.
Yeah, it's crazy the stuff that like I used to do before like I did any type of physical activity. Like I would do the same stuff, like not stretch, just get right into it. I would eat the stupidest things before practice. Like now there's I know if I eat certain things, I cannot work out. Like or if
Hmm.
I eat within a certain time frame, the working out is not gonna happen. It's just funny how you pay more attention to it, and also your body starts to respond differently as you age. So I'm getting old.
I've been trying to tell you.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Having a corporate job and climbing up the clinical ladder to be deemed successful. Considering the way I am now, I can't believe this was my goal of once upon a time. And I think that is so, I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, I think I realized early on that climbing the clinical ladder is probably not going to be my fate. It's not going to be my best bet. But I think that many people believe that the higher you climb in like a corporate job, like that's attached to your success. But now that I say that out loud, maybe it is success for somebody, depending on what your perspective or view of success is. But I think for me personally, I wouldn't consider that success.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think it depends on what your situation is and what your definition of success is. Because if you're like, if you don't got a family, if you don't got any kids that you're, and it's just you and you want to, climb as high as you can, then that could be successful. But if you have a situation where climbing up the clinical ladder takes away from time from your family or what is important to you, then is that success? That's a question that you gotta ask yourself. That's a question that, you're gonna have to come to grips with. And sometimes there's other ways to get quote unquote success without climbing up the ladder, as a lot of people in healthcare are figuring out right now. Like, I don't gotta just work clinically to make bread to support myself, but I can also have a Etsy shop, or I can, train people on the side. I can have, I can have a scrub store. I can have, you can create a lot of different things to supplement your lifestyle and still be not have to climb up the ladder to get that raise in income or the raise in status. I think there's a lot of ways that you can do it.
I agree. I just think it depends on what are you good at and what do you want out of life. Because to some people, like you may not even want to do any of like the side hustles, have a business, and at the same time, you might not want to climb the corporate ladder. So it's like you're okay with where you're at. I think you just have to know like what makes you happy, what you want to accomplish, and go from there. But without knowing those things, it's hard to say like what success is and like what you actually want to do.
Hmm. Yeah, YOLO. You only got one life, so figure out what makes you happy and and make the most of it. Do you have more that you want to hit on?
I have another one. This is my last one.
Hmm.
Somebody said going out. I like my rest. The body actually needs it. After working during the week, I enjoy going home and resting. I'll purposely ignore calls for hanging out. And I think I relate to this now because like before I was going out a lot and I would work and then I would be out all weekend. And now I'm like kind of slowing down and I actually feel better like that. And like I'll ignore like text messages and group chats like for plans just because I don't want to go out because I'm just be tired and I feel fine doing that. Like what today Sunday, Friday, I was in bed at like 10 p.m. and I put on like some Alpha Wave and I fell asleep and it felt great in the morning. Like I was so well rested. I felt good. So
For sure.
I think as you get older, the more like the older I get, the more I realize like I like being home. I be in this room chilling.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, picking and choosing your spots of like and being aware of when your battery's on E and you gotta rest and recover versus when you can, you know, plan to go out or plan to, spend some time with your friends. But I think being able to recognize, how you're feeling in that moment and what you've been going through the week or earlier in the day, in life and at work and workouts and whatever it is that you're going through, like being able to recognize what your body needs. And if you gotta say, no, I can't, I need this day, don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel mad about it. I think it's important to, take that R&R and use it to refuel, recharge for when the next event comes that you're ready for it. But if you're just running on E all the time, you're eventually gonna crash. It's gonna be bad. Yeah, yeah. And I think, trying to get ahead of it and recognizing when you need those days is super important.
Yeah. That's the point of my life I'm at now. So I resonated with that a lot.
Hmm.
Those were my captivating responses.
I like it. No, like I said, we appreciate everybody who took the time to respond to the question. It was a very reflective exercise or experience, I think, for both of us, and to hear other people's perspectives and what they've changed over the years. I think it was very insightful. So thank y'all for trusting us with that information. And we just thought, we got so many good responses that we should not just end after that episode 59. But if you missed episode 59, those were our personal ones. So go back and check that one out. And then now we got the perspective from some of our listeners, and some of our followers, and some of our friends and family. So if you got more that you want to add to this, if you've changed your mind on some things as you've gotten older or experienced different things, let us know. Let us send it, write in the comments, send us a DM. We'd love to hear about it. We'd love to chop it up and see how we can continue these conversations. But until then, we'll catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.